Hello, I'm Tony, and I thought I ought to give you a little introduction to who I am. So, I was a dentist. I'll put some details down, but this is where I fiddle around at the moment, just trying to promote prevention. And so I'm hoping we can help one another. So, let's see how we get on.
Yeah, so that's an introduction that I might leave on all the videos and then tell people to skip through, because what you want is them to actually learn a little bit about teeth and how to look after people's mouths. And I can easily do that. It's just getting a format that everyone's happy with. So here, as a dentist, I used to have to do continual professional development, CPD, as does everyone. And I'm sure you have something similar, and just making a format that's usable for all of us. So I've made this website. If you went on that one, teethforlife.org.uk, that's for dentists, really, trying to promote prevention. And yeah, it's like turkeys voting for Christmas. I haven't had a great response. But if you actually look at the website that this is on, you'll see me on the homepage, and that's why I've done it and why I continue to do it. Well, you do these things because, quite frankly, it's the right thing to do. So uh, on all the CPD, you can all the references will be visible as such. Anyone can look at them via Wikipedia or Google and just come to it. But we have to be careful that we don't get false news, and that's why I like people to use my app or plug my app. But anyway, there will be a format there. I think that will work for everyone. So you just have to write which title. So the title there won't be developing a dental health service. This particular one, I think it said teeth structure decay and erosion. So that would be one. But what I'm aiming for with all of them is to help improve the knowledge and communication as a health advocate. So that's what we're trying to do. And the objectives then are to make anyone looking at them think about, kind of what they're doing, and maybe hopefully they'll have heard something different. And is it, worth it? Reflect is basically thinking back at what you do on a day-to-day basis and how you can implement or change or even correct me on what you do. And the other one is about all these things should be enjoyable. I think it's very difficult to enjoy it. That's why I'm going to try and keep it to 20 minutes. So better crack on. The IT and communication resources are stuff that they're my references. So it's a whole different ball game now. I used to have things called books when I was learning, and yeah, to develop CPD outcomes. Really, for this is all about communication. Right, let's hope this is working. So this is the third one about really about teeth and gums. And so, as with the others, I've put down three aims and objectives. So one is to go through the gums and how they're related to your health. And one is about how we measure your gums. So we call it the BPE. So it's the basic periodontal examination, and how your gums really reflect on the general health of your body. And then the third thing is something that I heard today on a talk from what used to be termed community dentistry. I'm really struggling to get to grips with new terms, but this is where you come in big time, and we all can help one another, and that's what this is all about. So yeah, this is now. I first started making these things called doodlies. Now, it's a few years ago, and I struggled to. It's taken me a while to find them again, but anyway, I don't think people like looking in people's mouths, and so I did this. And one of the things is if it's people like things that are generally a bit funny. So this was me trying to be funny. It's tricky with teeth. So there's the joke. Right. So anyway, these haven't changed. And clearly I was trying to promote my app here, and that's about the BPE. And what we're talking about is how bleeding gums, when you think about it, obviously, if your gums are bleeding, blood comes out, but bacteria and viruses go in. So yeah, this was before COVID. And we're getting more and more aware of this. So that the kidney disease, there's definitely specific bacteria in your mouth that cause that. And there's some great work by some Professor Ian Chappell. And yeah, so if you clean, if you stop your gums bleeding, then as I say, there's the joke. So get on with your TPs. Oh yes, and yeah, that's what it's saying. So you can help flatten the curve, and whilst it may not be that appropriate to in a care home, it may help you at home. Good luck. So yeah, you've seen this one before. So if I press the button, it'll start going. And so what I want from you is a little bit of help in that this picture was made on something called brushes, that if you have an iPad, it's a free download. So there's something called Procreate, and I haven't really got to grips with that yet. So we'll over the next few days. And I found out how to use brushes purely by accident when I was on holiday, and I can remember it distinctly because my wife was in the shower and I did a picture. And if you look elsewhere, I've done lots of pictures about cancer and a reveal, and it shows kind of a picture of a cancer, but you reverse it using iMovie, you know. So this is kind of like a hobby, this painting. And so a lot of the pictures aren't 100% accurate. Like here, really the position of the bone's not right. And, you know, I look at them and I can really criticize them, but you probably, hopefully won't, but a dentist will. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So this one is, I can't see this because there's something covering the final bit, but I think it's into the biofilm, good and bad. So yeah, on my YouTube channel, I think this will have an audio with it, or it'll certainly have some music rather than just my voice. So what we're talking about is the biofilm is good. There's good and bad biofilm. We can talk about, yeah, there are the biofilms throughout the body and the gut as well. But what happens in the mouth specifically and elsewhere in the body, if it's not kept healthy, and that is that you don't clean your gums particularly well and you're susceptible, then the bacteria change. And so one of the main things is the change from being aerobic to anaerobic, which is basically, I wouldn't go as far as to say pleasant, but they certainly don't stink. And that's what can happen. Yeah, and so this is talking about, when was that? That was COVID. And yes, they did find out in the end, the first research showed that you're 6 times more likely to die if you had periodontal disease than if you didn't. And that's what we're talking about here, is actually keeping your gums healthy may improve your general health. So for yourself, and if you're looking after anyone, please hold a toothbrush at the right angle, the right length of time. And I'm sure with these videos, I'll reiterate this because I'm just trying to find out what you think of the videos, really. So clearly this is a newer one, and it's going to say the same thing. I think this is on YouTube. Yeah, so it's a YouTube link, but it says the same thing in that, and just in a different manner. So do you prefer this? I think these are really good, these animations, but they look professional. So clearly I haven't done them. And just to keep you occupied, occasionally I'll make a spelling mistake because I'm that old. They didn't have dyslexia when I was at school, but they certainly have it now. My son has it, and I think it's a gift, actually. So if you see any spelling mistakes, think, God, he's a clever guy. Anyway, so it's obvious. If you've got blood coming out, anything in your mouth can go in, and they're not all going to give you a problem. And we can talk about immunity and get into it more depth, because actually gum disease, we tend to think it's almost like a problem with your immunity. So if we can improve your immunity, and that's basically having a decent diet, then we can stop all kinds of problems. But 10% of people are prone to more active gum disease. And you can help these people by just keeping their mouths a bit cleaner. And yeah, so I think this is the end of it. And it goes on to, that's a website that I'm hoping to make, but I haven't had any support yet. Yeah, and it's interesting because that video on the bottom right, I think I only made yesterday. Anyway, I'm never quite sure how YouTube works, or Facebook or Instagram, but I do try. Oh, please subscribe. So yes, so I'll press the button. The one on the left, I think, more or less says the same thing. But the one on the right is actually something I downloaded yesterday. And I don't really read, but I listen to stuff on audiobooks for a variety of reasons. You know, when you can't sleep, you want to listen to some dental stuff, it'll knock you out. But this is by a guy called Matthew Syed, and it's called Rebel Ideas, I think. Anyway, and this is where we are. Is it, as a dentist, I used to go to these courses, and we'd listen to someone talk, and we all end up talking in I think it's called a cage. Someone calls it like a marketing cage. It's something like that, where we all say the same thing, and you don't diverge, and you don't come from a different angle, and that's the wrong way to do it. So I know absolutely diddly squat about how you get on in a care home. What I do know is that you don't generally know too much about teeth and gums. And I think if you know a little bit more about it, then it'll help you in what you do. But you can certainly help me and help everyone if you give your feedback, no matter how ridiculous you think it is or how brilliant it is. Then we can kind of develop something together and make these little videos worthwhile for everybody. So that's what I'm after. So I'm not sure if you can see that, and I'm not putting myself down as a leader, but I do know a bit about teeth and gums. So I need your help. Oh yeah, join the gang. So this one, again, is it's probably a little bit of repetition. And I think I tried to be funny with this one as well. It's difficult to be funny about teeth. But anyway, that, as it says, why do people start cleaning the gums when they bleed? And certainly don't just stick a mouthwash in, because that just disguises the problem. And as we were saying before, in a healthy mouth, we all have bugs. It's one of the dirtiest parts of the body. As long as we keep them aerobic and nice and clean, we avoid this. And what we're trying to do is to avoid the change. And we can go through that in a later video explaining how you should be cleaning the teeth. But this more or less says it. It is not that difficult to keep your mouth clean. And actually, the more we know, in some ways, the less we know. But we do know that the best thing for a healthy lifestyle is a healthy diet, keeping active. We don't want to be taking any medication because, frankly, it just doesn't work. So the best thing you can do is just spend a little bit of time considering how you look after your mouth. And then if you look after your mouth well, you'll know what you're doing for the residents, and you'll know what you'll be doing for your children if you have them. And yeah, going back to the first slide, if you haven't got a partner. Anyway, this says you can screen, but you can't write. So this is basically about the BPE, the basic periodontal examination. So this is related to your general health. So not only can you have a problem that you just have loose teeth, but there are other sort of implications that it will have. So the importance about it is, as I was just saying before, is it's related to your general health. And this is where the bacteria get in. So clearly this isn't one of my videos, but I have added a few bits to it. And it is saying, I think one of the calculations is that if your gums are bleeding quite profusely or in all different parts, it's like having a huge slice off the size of a few fingers off your skin. And you'd certainly do something about that. You try and get it to heal. And that's what we're trying to do. The mouth can heal it very quickly. And the way that we clean now more is I'm more against floss than anything. You can, in some cases, do more damage. But these are really good. And as we get older, we need to use these incidental devices more. And there'll be videos on that. But as you'll keep seeing, I keep advertising the app. So you can see how to do that if you just download the app. And yeah, I'm trying to do this. If you log onto that site, it won't show much at the moment, but it would if I had some collaboration. And looking at the screen, I forgot to say, you can't diagnose gum disease. You need a dentist or a hygienist to do that. You can do it for your blood pressure, you can do it for your BMI, but you can't do it for your gum disease. We need to take the BPE. Anyway, I think this is very short, but this was just talking about COVID. And so I was just playing around, but you get the idea. And so whilst it may, COVID, the viruses, I think they probably were respiratory borne, but some people think that they went through the bloodstream, and who knows, but we do know the outcomes were poor. And when was that? February 2021. And this, well, this is today. Well, I got this today, but it was published a week ago. Oh, no, it was published a month ago. Anyway, but so if people have dentures, they should take them out of at night, and you should know how to clean them, because they do think that the article was showing that people who had poorly fit had a lot more bacteria on their dentures than in the mouth. So you get all kinds of research done, and we're just trying to find out what is practical for you that can help your residents. And so this one is about, yes, you becoming a health advocate. So again, I tried to be funny about this, in a way. So the Sun always go for a good headline. And again, this is me trying to promote the app, but also getting people to take ownership of their health. And this is really related to how you can check yourself for oral cancer. And it actually involves a patient of mine. The first picture was a patient of mine's daughter took the picture of her tongue with the ulcer. And she was scared about it for a couple of months, eventually saw the doctor, or rather saw the dental hospital, and it was just, she just had a sharp tooth. But anyway, so yeah, this is sort of slightly off cue, but you ought to be checking yourself once a month in an ideal world, because having your mouth checked once a year is not enough for oral cancer. Oh, and on this, the whole thing about being a health advocate is that you can register on the app, which we'll go through at a later date and be on it. And I'm hoping that all the advice on it is sort of current. And you don't necessarily need to know everything. You just need to be aware that what the resource you are using is not fake news. It's what is applicable to the people you pass it on to. So this is, I'm a dentist. It's all about dental stuff, but basically, there's no reason why it shouldn't have a little bit about your diet, because the government are keen to give money for people to lose weight, and the problems with diabetes and things like that. It's the same thing. Diabetes, it's too much sugar. Well, that gives you tooth decay. It also gives you gum disease. It's all related. And a lot of these things are related, sort of your physical health, we could put a bit in about that, your mental health, a bit about that. And it has to be simple. There's no point being too clever about it. So this is about, it mentions diabetes. But this, again, this midstream health delivery, I only heard this term today. But the bit about diabetes, I heard on Tuesday. So I'll press the video. I think it's talking about collaboration, which is what this is that we don't just have to deliver oral health in the dental surgery. In fact, lots of you can't get in. And certainly it's a struggle for children at the moment. It's all in the news. And so I made a video earlier in the week for someone who's actually going into schools, showing them how children how to clean their teeth in a manner that they will engage in. And this is another thing. We should have just QR codes everywhere around dental products in the chemists. And this one, I can't quite remember, it's teaching at school about health in a manner that they like. And yeah, that's me tapping away. I did have hair once. It's a bit sad. So that's me trying to look like a dentist. And that was we should use QR codes more. And yeah, that must be the end of the video. But the diabetic bit, when I went to, so I'm pre-diabetic. I come as a surprise. But the person giving the talk, it's a really good course. You go once a big shout out. If you are pre-diabetic, go. And the thing they talk about, and I thought the made you sit up, was talking about how you can't suddenly stop taking sugar. Suddenly cut out your chocolate. You have to do it gradually. It's a bit like being an alcoholic. Anyway, that's a different story. And yeah, glad to say that's not me. So I'm hoping I've managed to get through this. And this is just to reiterate what it was. You hopefully know a little bit more about gums and health. You know that your BPE is related to your general health. So that's what we call is the sentinel of the body, is that the mouth, the health of your mouth reflects the condition of your body. And yeah, that you will be able to help in whatever way you can in delivering health in the middle, which is, you can't rely on the government for everyone to have free dental checkups. And so we're in the middle stream. And as a dentist, we just, the way it works at the moment is we just get paid for treatment. And we all have to sit and turn that around. We all have to think different. So I hope you can help. And yeah, and those who've got this far, that's my email. And this is what I can do, and you can do in the future, is if you can clean someone's teeth, you can take a picture. If you can take a picture, you can take a scan. Now, this is grey areas that we should exploit before the lawyers and the profession jump on you and say you can't do that. Losing dentures is a major problem in care homes, and I think there's a very easy solution that is relatively cheap for you to do. It'll cost over £1,000 if your client loses or resident loses their teeth, if you can get a dentist to come in. This way you can do it for a lot less, but you can make some money out of it. And the little cameras on the left, the first camera I bought in my practice, a digital camera, cost £6,000. These cost me 50. The bigger one is the more recent one. But there are other devices in between and scanners that dentists have in their surgeries. If you're a dental nurse, ask your dentist if you can borrow one, because you can do what we would call asynchronous screening, which means that basically you scan the resident's teeth after you've cleaned them, and we can go through that, and then we're able to keep an eye on them. And there are lots of things we can do that I'll go into, but I need your help. So which parts of the videos do you like, which you don't like? Let me know. And yeah, at the end where we say this, you'll have seen this before, you've seen the other few. Yeah, be honest and just fill in a form, say how much time you spent on it, what you'd learned, give you feedback. I haven't made I'm hoping to get some form of AI that can interpret your feedback, and together we can improve our health and the people who you look after. And that's a positive thing. Anyway, I hope you like this one. Please give your feedback. If you don't like it, but you know someone who does, just pass it on to them.